It's the Geeky Waffle Podcast.
I'm Candace, and with me are my fellow waffles, Vanessa. Hey, Vanessa.
Hello.
And Arzu.
Hello.
We're going back to the 90s because we're talking about Titanic and Titanic Mania. So we were all in grade school at the time. We were kids of the 90s. Do you all remember watching this movie for the first time?
No, for the first time, no. But when you talk about having an intermission when going to see it, all I think of is changing out the VHS tape because it was a double VHS tape because it was so long.
The first time I saw it on a plane, and this was back before you could pick the movie you wanted to watch. So there were channels, and when the movie started, it started, and it was just going to play whether or not you were watching it. And it was in 2 parts. So my mom told me I could watch the first part because I was only 7, but I couldn't watch the second part, which I don't think she was worried about the car scene because she didn't think I was going to get it. I think she was more worried about everybody dying. But then I was begging her because I'm I need to see how this movie ends. And she's like, fine, you can watch the movie, but you have to take your headphones out. I was like, you know what? Fair deal. Fair deal. So the first time I saw it, I had no audio for the second half. I don't think she wanted me to deal with the screaming and the crying. I think she thought that was going to freak me out.
I don't think this is a good traveling movie.
It's not, but
you're over the ocean.
I'm trying to think when this was almost a year later. This was summer 1998.
Yeah, because it came out in 1997, December, and it didn't really pick up steam until the very end of the year. It was originally going to come out during summer, but it got pushed. So a lot of people thought that Titanic wasn't going to be a big deal. Vulture even said Titanic was expected to be the biggest disaster since the actual ship went down. Since it's a CGI movie, which was wildly over its budget, and it got a bumped release date, which usually means a bad thing for the movie. But this time it didn't. But damn, Vulture, that's dark.
They didn't know. They didn't know.
Okay, so I vividly remember in elementary school, we had a talent show at the end of the year in 1998. 2 girls sang My Heart Will Go On. 1 person played it on the harp.
Did they perform it well?
I think so. But after the second time, you're like, nobody played that song again.
No, but that's the thing is that it was everywhere. That song was everywhere. Everything was that year was themed around. Wasn't our dance Titanic theme?
I don't think we had a dance that year.
We had I feel like we had a dance it was either that year or the year after. I don't remember, but either way, I know that it was a Titanic theme.
Our 8th grade, did we go to the same middle school? We did, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Our 8th grade dance was Save the Last Dance for Me, the Julia Stiles movie.
Aww.
I remember that. I don't remember anything I remember we went to Universal in 5th grade, I think.
There was definitely a 5th grade dance. Whether or not it's Titanic themed, now I'm not so sure, but I'm have a distinct memory of that.
This is going to get into some of the stuff I have. So speaking of My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion.
A Canadian icon.
A Canadian icon, diva, queen. February 12th, 1998. My Heart Will Go On breaks the record for most radio plays in a single week with 117 million plays.
Is this US, globally?
I'm guessing it has to be globally, right?
It doesn't sound like a lot if it's globally. It sounds like a lot if it's the US.
It felt like that.
It played that much just on your local radio station.
It was everywhere. I believe it.
I believe it too. I believe that if you told me that was just the US, I would believe it.
Yeah. Do you guys remember the dance remake by Deja Vu?
No.
I have a Tony Moran remix.
It peaked at the chart at number 69 on Billboard's Hot 100.
Nice.
Yeah. Peaked. Huh. No.
Oh, God.
I'm hilarious, y'all. Okay. Okay, so I just want to start. This was a disaster. People died. I just keep thinking of that Kardashian gif.
People are dying, Kim.
Leave it to Hollywood to take very tragic historical events and turn it into some sort of weird romance thing that made all of us younger kids obsessed with it.
Yeah, and I think something that you don't realize when you're at that age is how weird all this stuff is.
I don't think it's that weird.
Okay, wait, Arzu.
This is a concept because
Not the movie.
no, but it's a
For the
concept to like
action.
set a romance against a tragedy. I don't
Oh,
think
no,
it's
no, that's fine. I am saying what happened afterwards, Arzu.
Oh, okay.
This talk is not about the movie itself. The movie is brilliant. I still love it. It holds up. Except Leonardo DiCaprio would never date Kate Winslet.
Nope, he's too old.
She's too old. She's too close to his age.
She's age appropriate. It would never happen.
Okay. He wouldn't date Titanic the movie either because it's 25 now. After riffing on Leonardo DiCaprio, who I think I had a celebrity crush on, but I think because all the girls had celebrity crushes, I felt like I needed to have one too. Life of a demisexual, even as a child.
I was the same. Like my friend's like, "Oh my god, Leo." I'm like, "Yeah." It was fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
I legit had a crush on Leo, so I don't know.
I feel like everyone did. I got his biography. He was like 21. What does he have to be have in his biography?
But y'all were like 11, 12 years old, right? 11?
10,
11.
10, 11.
Made a little more sense. My class was like 7. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing looking at Leo? Like, you're a baby. Like, go watch Barney. I don't think that's what 7-year-olds do, but
Okay, so this Titanic craze started out January 1st. National Geographic releases a collector's edition of its 1986 Secrets of the Titanic special on VHS. Normal, right? People are interested now in the history of the Titanic, right? This is 2 months after the movie released. On February 14th, 1998, the movie scores the highest Valentine's Day gross of all time, $13 million in one day.
yeah, that tracks.
That tracks, right?
That's why it's coming back to theaters this Valentine's Day, because it did so well that original Valentine's Day.
Also, James Cameron wants to.
Also, James Cameron wants more money. But like,
I can't think of anything else I'd rather do on Valentine's Day than watch hundreds of people just freeze into the ocean.
We're getting a little later. On March 6th, it's getting weirder. Titanic is nominated for a bunch of Academy Awards, except Leonardo DiCaprio did not get nominated.
did Kate Winslet?
Yes, and so did Gloria, who plays Old Rose. I think she even went.
Wait, really? But
Gloria
she's only there for
Swanson?
like 5 minutes.
Gloria
Friggin-
Swanson, right?
Yeah, Judi Dench won for Queen Elizabeth, and she was in the movie for 5 minutes in Shakespeare in Love. It's crazy what they'll do. The Academy Awards aren't real. They just nominate, and then people win.
Memorable. We're memeing her to this day.
Yeah, it's been
84 years.
So Leonardo did not get nominated. I remember as a child being personally offended by this because I was like, they both deserve it. So more than 200 fans, not me, not child me, call and email the Academy to demand a recount.
I don't know if I believe that. You were leading the charge.
Yeah. It was like elementary school me, like asking my parents if I can make a long distance phone call. So a spokesman for the Academy said the calls did not just come from teenagers. One older woman called and said the whole state of Florida was upset.
So I'm telling you, you got an older woman to call on your behalf.
I went to one of the retirement centers and be like, hey, you're upset about this too.
Pay on $5 to call the Academy.
I didn't have $5 at that time. So Titanic wins 11 of the 14 Oscars it's nominated for, tying with Ben-Hur's record from 1960. The telecast is the most watched ever with 55 million viewers. And at 3 hours and 47 minutes, it's also the longest. Only 15 million people watched it last year. This is what the Academy Awards dreams of. And they didn't get numbers like that until like Lord of the Rings got nominated a couple years later. In March, we're getting weird, y'all. Okay, a British company called Wild Wings announces it's now booking Titanic-themed vacations.
In which many questions.
Yes, okay. In which voyagers will travel 12,000 feet into the ocean.
Nope. Hard.
1,000 feet into the ocean, like
In
down
Russian?
from shore or
Yeah.
No, hard pass. If
Damn.
you wanted to do like a Titanic recreation and sail from London to New York on a Titanic-sized boat, I'd do it. But down, no thank you.
It's the same kind of like vessel that James Cameron used for his footage for his National Geographic documentary.
I was going to say you couldn't pay me enough. You probably could, but I wouldn't pay to do that.
Do you know how much it cost in
Let's guess.
1990? Okay, yes, 1998. How much do you think the chance to go down and see the wreckage of the Titanic cost per person?
$10,000.
$20,000.
Oh,
$50,000.
it's $30,000. It was $30,000.
In 1998, you could buy a house for that
Yeah.
in Canada.
You could buy something back then. This vacation stopped in 2005, but it restarted in 2012 because of the 100-year anniversary. You got to celebrate. You got to market that.
Celebrate.
And it cost $60,000 per person.
Oh my
God, I'm
How
trying to
much
even
was it?
picture how much 60,000 would look like in my bank account, and I can't.
Could
Okay.
not buy a house for that here in 2012, but
No.
I could put a down payment on
Down
something.
payment. Yeah, you could put a down payment on something.
There's
maybe.
there's so many things you could do with that. Is this quote unquote vacation literally just to go down and see the Titanic, or was there more involved in it? Like, do you at least get like free meals for $3? Like what is involved?
Also, like,
with
is
that
it like a date?
$6,000?
Like, you just go down and they come back up and then that's it? Or like,
so I'm wondering.
because like in 1998, for $30,000, you could take your whole family to Disney World for like a month.
Oh, guess in 2021, it will cost you £90,000.
Buy a really nice car. This is 90,000 pounds too, not even dollars.
£95,000, which is about 190 to 95,000 pounds, which is about $125,000.
Oh,
Which
my
is
God.
even more
American.
here. It's like
Oh.
$145,000, $150,000 here.
So there's space for 9 paying tourists. Oh my God. Okay, so it's 10 days out of St. John, Newfoundland, Canada. So close to you, Arzu, right? No, Canada.
Close-ish.
Yeah. It's 9 tourists who are dubbed mission specialists will join a crew on each sailing. They'll be expected to participate in research efforts. So you're actually going to work.
You pay them to work. Seems like a scam.
Okay, so this is from Ocean Gate, which is a different company than Wild Wings. This must be what they're doing now, because I can't find anything from Wild Wings now, so I think they went out of business, allegedly.
What, they
So-
weren't charging people enough?
Yeah, look at Ocean Gate. Over $100,000 per person. So Ocean Gate's goal is to document the Titanic wreck before it gets destroyed entirely due to deep sea bacteria that eats iron. That's going to happen in the next few decades. That is just
Oh my
going to
God.
mostly be gone.
They should pull it up so the rest of us can see it. Without
Back then they had the traveling Titanic exhibit they had all of the stuff that they recovered from the Titanic. And you know what? That's good enough for me, because I'm sure that I didn't pay at that point, my parents didn't pay more than like $20 a ticket for us to go and see that stuff.
That's true. They do have some in Canada too. They have a permanent exhibit at the Maritime Museum in Halifax.
I don't know what happened with the 2021 version. But in 2018, they tried this trip before, but the sub was hit by lightning.
Oh my God.
It's a hard pass from me.
Seems like this is a sign. Maybe we should steer clear.
God said no.
Yeah.
God's like, that's enough.
He's like, let them rest in peace, y'all. So yeah, there's just like a lot of these companies who are making bank from Titanic, and Ocean Gate is one of them. Let's talk about another company that was making bank from the Titanic. Have either of you heard of J. Peterman Company?
Sounds like a law firm.
Did either of you guys watch Seinfeld?
That's what I was just saying. It just sounds like something from Seinfeld.
Yeah, Elaine works for a fictional version
Peterman,
of
yeah.
J. Peterman. So that's actually, he became more popular because of it, and he loved the portrayal because he thought it was funny. The J. Peterman Company, founded in 1987 by John Peterman, he launched his brand with the goal of offering uncommonly good stuff, inspired by his international travels, and is best known for its reproductions of vintage clothing, accessories, and home decor, all sold via the brand's famous, fanciful written catalog. So this catalog always tells a story. It's very dramatic, and that's part of the fun of it. And there's always drawings of selling. So J. Peterman heard about this movie Titanic and was like, maybe we should try something. Titanic, that's history, that's vintage, right? So they started selling Titanic props and reproductions, and they had, for $190, you could have the Heart of the Ocean necklace.
I feel like even I knew that.
Here it is. So it says like, wear it to coronation, wear it to a movie, wear it to bed. Oh, wear well, he draws you like a French girl. But it's kind of funny, like, this is
The Hope Diamond.
Yeah, and also it's a engagement gift for a teenage girl who's in a relationship that she doesn't want to be in, and he's obviously Cal is abusive.
But that's like such a literal takeaway of what this necklace means. I know. It's something that, yes, is given to this girl who doesn't want to be in this relationship because he's an asshole. But like, she takes it, she does something he would not approve of. She does something in her own power, owning her own sexuality with this as like a representation of that. And then because Jack dies, she like holds on to it because it's the only thing she has to connect her back. And then when she drops it, she's like letting go of the whole thing, and then she dies. It's like a representation of this woman owning her own life.
Okay.
I did not realize how strongly I felt about this. Yeah, that was really wonderful to watch.
So Fox, the production company of Titanic, sues an Ohio jewelry company called Lindenworld Fine Jewelry, which was trying to sell a $19 knockoff called Jewel of the Sea.
But what does it matter?
Ooh, do you know how much the one from J. Peterman was?
Yeah, it's $198.
Okay, so what does it make a difference? It's not like they're cutting into their market, right?
Okay. So the company wound up selling J. Peterman over $1 million worth of the Heart of the Ocean replicas. And they offered Titanic costumes like Rose's jump dress, which is the dress that she was going to commit suicide in.
That's not what they called it.
They called it a jump dress. And they also offered the heaven dress, the one that after she dies, she imagines herself meeting up with Jack, and they recommend it for brides.
Oh my God. Like, okay, heaven dress, sure. Jump dress? Oh no. Why don't they make things like this anymore? That's my question.
They still have, you can still buy the stuff from J. Peterman.
But does J. Peterman still do like detailed replicas like this?
They still have the Titanic stuff for sale. I'll have to.
No, they don't. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, J.
Okay.
Peterman.
So there are a lot of issues with this. Some people criticize the company's decision to capitalize on a tragedy. Peterman addressed the controversy in an essay for the Harvard Business Review. He said the products were authentic movie props. We never led people to believe that the materials came off the ship, nor did we want them to think so.
That wasn't the problem.
Was that the
no?
issue?
Dude,
No.
yeah, that wasn't the problem. They got flack for capitalizing off a tragedy. That was the entire movie was capitalizing off a tragedy.
If James Cameron's allowed to make money off of this, so is J. Peterman.
Okay, so he continues to say he regrets reproducing the Heart of the Ocean, which he made $1 million from that.
So he doesn't regret it that much.
But he said the product did well, but selling it was a clear commercial decision. We shouldn't have. It was not authentic. It was tied too completely to the movie, and it appealed to an audience younger than our target 35 to 55-year-olds. It was a costly success in terms of our brand's integrity.
Okay.
It's like there's a 12-year-old going out and buying this.
Yeah, what 12-year-old has $198?
I don't know what he means by authenticity or brand integrity, because they're selling costumes.
Yeah.
From the movie, like replicas, but costumes. I don't know why that's where he draws the line.
Okay, I didn't tell you how much Rose's jump dress was. Did
Can
I?
we guess?
No.
There was only one available. Please guess how much.
$700.
No, if there's one available, oh my God.
That's $10,000.
Higher.
$25,000.
Higher.
$50,000.
Okay, when you guys jump so high, it's $35,000.
Well, that's as much as one of those trips.
Yeah, at least back then. And the heaven dress was $2,000. Okay, so this was a lightning strike success for J. Peterman. Like, they're not used to like selling so much stuff at once. So they decided to expand quickly, and they secured some venture capital and opened 10 new brick and mortar stores in 1998 alone. However, they hit the iceberg and they couldn't sustain the growth. But it has a happy ending, unlike Jack's store. Since it went into bankruptcy, they had to sell the stores. But Paul Harris Stores purchased the company after it went bankrupt. But then Paul Harris went out of business. And then Peterman rebought his company.
Oh, God. It's like the Disney store in Children's Place.
This is more dramatic than the movie.
No, it's just like Rose dying and then going back with Jack. His company died, and
Then Jay Peterman shows up to buy his company back wearing a heaven dress.
okay, yeah, that's the story of Jay Peterman. Okay, speaking of heaven, tourists flood Fairview Lawn Cemetery in Halifax, Nova Scotia, where 122 Titanic victims are buried. 11-year-old girl, according to Entertainment Weekly, had a Titanic-themed birthday party there.
At the cemetery.
At the cemetery.
That is so inappropriate.
2 girls ran between gravestones shouting, "I'm king of the world." I blame the parents.
I expected better of my fellow Canadians.
I blame the parents.
But I expected better. I've been to this cemetery, and it is like in the worst place for a party. First of all, it's a cemetery. But putting that aside for a second, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's like in a residential neighborhood. There's like houses and then a cemetery. It's not like forest lawn or something, which is like in a park type setting. This is like there are people's houses there.
It's ridiculous, but I'm also not shocked because I feel like parents, teachers, like any of the adult generation who saw the effect that this was having on kids were really trying to latch onto that and make it something because they saw it as, whoa, this is an opportunity for them to learn history. And that it's like they're excited about history. Like, who cares how we got to here? And so they tried to do everything in their power to keep that interest going. And stuff like those birthday parties is what happened.
I think the parents are just idiots.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Vanessa. I think they were latching onto the fact that their kids were gravitating towards something like historical that could be made into a learning opportunity. But then I think that ends when you take them to the cemetery for a birthday party.
No, I agree. I agree, but that's what I'm thinking. That's why it happened. Is just, I remember even in I think it was middle school, so like right after it came out, and it was still like a crazy phenomenon. We had to write Titanic stories. We had to write Titanic stories in English class.
Oh my God.
And again, it wasn't even just like history. That was like everybody was trying to just like keep this ball rolling, anything to keep the kids interested.
We were talking about this a little bit before, like there were dances, there were proms. You could buy like a little, look, there's a ship and they're pointing at the ship. And
I like this little throuple out for prom.
We do not judge.
We do not judge. I enjoy it.
But what it just drives me nuts because like I saw some other photos, they're not as good quality, but like they literally have the iceberg there. And it's like, no, people die.
So funny.
And okay, speaking of parties, Adele actually had her 30th birthday party, Titanic themed, which could be fine. She really likes the aesthetic of the
10.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's fine. But this photo is what really bothered me. Was they're wearing life vests.
No.
Oh, dear.
She's wearing the jump dress.
And the necklace. Oh, my God.
If I were a Titanic victim, just looking down on this,
Haunt them.
I'd be like, are you freaking kidding me? This was obviously the worst day of my life, and now I'm dead, and you're partying.
God, Adele.
Oh my God. I don't know. Too much.
Okay. And a little lighter note. In May 1998, 2 feature film Titanic parodies go into pre-production. Titanic 2, It Missed the Iceberg, set to star Leslie Nielsen, and Gigantic, about a ship that's 2.5 inches shorter than Titanic. Both are dead in the water a few months later.
No. Oh. Another fun.
Leslie Nielsen's parodies the King of the World scene in the film Wrongfully Accused, which is just the King of the World.
So they saved that bit and reused it somewhere else.
In August, the Family Channel premieres Leo Mania, an hour-long documentary about DiCaprio's fan following. The Family Channel, which taught kids how to count.
Wait, that's an American thing, the Family Channel?
Yeah.
We have a Family Channel here too, but it's different.
Okay.
So I got confused. Okay.
So the Titanic double cassette VHS box hit stores September 1st. Blockbuster chains, remember Blockbuster?
Of course.
They stay open until 2 a.m. in order to start selling right at midnight. I can't do those anymore. I'm too old.
I miss a midnight release.
I like sleep. Okay. In Bay Ridge, a video store promotes the release with an 8-foot ice sculpture of the ship.
No.
Too
It's
soon.
so bad taste.
Too soon.
Dallas stores offer rentals to customers who brought in the largest chunk of ice.
Too soon.
Oh, why?
Yeah.
Wait, but how do they were there like set ice events? Because like, if you bring in a big chunk of ice and they give you a rental and then somebody comes after you and brings a bigger chunk of ice, they can't take your rental back.
They must have had like a contest or something.
Well, weren't these ice things melting everywhere?
Yeah, it was September.
Dallas.
I don't. But it's September though.
It's still Dallas.
It would be melting.
Okay.
Nobody got a rental then. Somebody with a single iced you.
Utah store offers to cut the racy scenes from the Titanic VHS for $5. More than 50 customers to take them up on it on the first day.
It's not even that racy.
There's one scene.
Yeah, I didn't understand like what the hand on the glass
I
meant
didn't get
or
it. I had
anything
no
like
idea.
that.
I don't even think I registered that they were naked.
Yeah, me
Like,
either.
Did
I
not
thought they were
register
just
it at
hugging.
all.
Funny thing is, I didn't even remember that part. All I'm thinking of is the drawing scene.
Yeah.
In November, I think I might have actually had these. A series of Titanic trading cards is released in a limited edition box shaped like a steamer trunk.
Oh, that's cute. I really thought
this-
you were going to say shaped like an iceberg.
It's not a trunk.
At this point,
All right. So I have one last thing that happened in 1998. I think it's important. A Titanic restaurant in London opens its door. It's in Piccadilly Circus. It's within the Regent Palace Hotel. And it was only open until 1998 till 2002. It's decorated like the inside of the ship.
was the food like on the ship?
Was there a giant ice sculpture in the middle of it?
The phone number for the restaurant ended in 1912, the year it sank.
Oh my God.
So the opening party was attended by celebrities including Billy Zane, who plays Cal in the movies, the Spice Girls,
The Spice Girls.
and
What?
Lenny Kravitz. The Zagat Guide stated in its review, its standards are sinking without a trace.
Oh no. What's at this restaurant? I'm very upset. That they have like burgers and fries on the menu.
It should be like what they would have eaten on the Titanic. If you're going to go that way, why not
Like-
go all the way?
It's weird. It's super weird. Like they clearly sunk all the money into the decor.
Sunk.
Eh.
That one was unintentional.
There was a restaurant below them called the Atlantic Bar and Grill. So they're above it, the Titanic.
Oh God. Okay, that was so better than what I thought you were gonna say, which was like they had like a first class accommodation and then like a third class.
Like they couldn't leave.
No, they couldn't leave it.
They slowly fill the restaurant with water.
There was talk about a Titanic themed cruise.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a cruise like on a recreation. I don't know what happened, but it was like a recreation of the ship and like the same sort of scale and all that. And I don't know what happened to that.
So it was announced in 2012, but was suspended due to financial constraints. However, it says in 2018, those have been taken care of, but I haven't heard anything about it since then.
Again, I have the same concern like I just said with the restaurant where like, well, in that case, would there be like first class, second class, and third class situation?
Will there be enough lifeboats?
I feel like there's just so many ways that this could go incredibly wrong.
It just feels like you're tempting fate. What we saw with Ocean Gate is like, what are their subs literally got struck by lightning.
I just think in general, it's very poor taste.
I agree.
Yeah.
No one's doing this with other it's not like this has never happened before, but I'm just saying that like most other tragedies do not, I don't know. Now I'm thinking of like Romeo and Juliet.
But
I'm
that wasn't
thinking of, like, oh my
historical.
God.
That's like based on a play.
It's not historical, but it's still just like taking a tragedy and making into like this like statement on like the biggest romance of all time. I don't know. It's just,
I think this only happened because it was the subject of one of the one of the like biggest movies ever.
Yeah,
I think that's why.
I mean, I was
absolutely.
intrigued by the Titanic as a kid. I remember reading Rainbow. There was a segment on a picture book about it, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, so many people and bad planning. Even though as a child, I was like, what is going on here? And there have been plenty of books, and there was a few movies before about the Titanic.
Mhm.
And there's also like Poseidon's. What is
Poseidon, that's what it's called.
that? The movie Poseidon? Is it just called Poseidon?
Poseidon Adventure?
Yes.
Is that
that's
is that a Universal?
No,
the
it's
Universal
Poseidon.
ride?
There is a Poseidon.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But there's a movie where
With
the
both-
whole cruise ship like flips over.
Yeah, it's called like the Poseidon Adventure or something.
Yeah, so like it's something that intrigues people already, but I do think people wouldn't be going to Titanic theme parties, or they wouldn't be the Titanic experience, which we find out like is in every freaking city now, it feels like. I'm pretty sure there's one in Orlando.
Okay, so it's called the Poseidon Adventure.
Thank you. Yeah, like Orlando has Titanic, the artifact exhibit, and has 300
Yeah.
artifacts, costumed actors, and a full-scale room recreations.
Yeah. See, that's what I was thinking of when I was thinking like, oh yeah, instead of going to the Titanic and spending a fortune on it, why not just go to one of these things?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can join them for a one-of-a-kind Titanic gala dinner and be a participant in one of the most famous dinner parties. Let's see how much money that is.
And then they slowly fill the room with water and never mistake.
I love that you keep coming back to that.
But it's not a real Titanic adventure. You're not trying to save yourself from drowning.
It's $69 per adult and $42 for children.
You know the scene in the movie where they're in the dining room and the wave just crashes through the door? Every night at this gala, they recreate that.
Honestly,
Is it just the tide pool from like water park?
Yeah.
I think that's the only way to really see, like, show people how like ridiculous this whole thing is.
There is a really well done VR thing that has you as a like lifeboat survivor, and you see the ship go down, and it's very haunting.
Nope. No, thank
No,
you.
that
I'm
is a
good.
hard
I'm
no.
good. My existential dread is good enough. Thanks.
But I think that helps put it more in perspective. Like, it's not like, oh, this is an adventure. This is fun. Titanic puts you in there and maybe makes some people think, yeah, these were people's lives.
that's very true.
But yeah, the only thing I can think of is in 9/11. Do you remember the movie Remember Me?
No.
I haven't seen it, but I know the twist.
Robert Pattinson, Emily DeRaven, who I adore both of them. Great actors. A+. It was during the height of his Twilight fame. And so it was a romance, and I don't even remember what it was about, but I remember the twist.
It was just about these two, like,
New York
finding each other and falling in love and, like, dealing with their own personal damage.
Yeah, like he had
And then-
daddy issues. I think his dad was Pierce Bronson.
Yeah, and, like, just when he's turned his life around, he, like, goes to visit his dad at work, and you realize his dad works at the Twin Towers, and it's September 11th.
You
Yeah.
see the children's school chalkboard.
Writing the date on the board, it's like Tuesday, September 11th.
And then it just pans out of him in one of the towers looking out.
That's the end of the movie?
That's the end of the
So
movie.
you see her going to his grave and everything like that.
But like, in that case, do we have 9/11? Like, we don't have like Remember Me, like parties or whatever. That's what I'm thinking, is that no one does this with any other thing. And I don't know if it's just because, I don't know,
I think it's a
Titanic
couple things.
is so far removed. It's so far removed in time from us.
I think
And
that's part of it. I think it being pre-World War I makes it feel like it's a completely different world. Whereas like something like September 11th, we are still feeling the repercussions of right now. I don't think there is that same.
So in
disconnect.
100 years, is there going to be some sort of 9/11 movie that all of a sudden it's like about this huge love story and people are going to be having 9/11? Like,
I don't think so, because I think even like Candace was saying, like they made other Titanic movies, right?
Yeah, even
And,
right
like-
after, like in
Like
the
right
50s,
after, like within.
where people who survived it were still alive. Probably were still some Titanic survivors alive.
I
Maybe
think
in the
there was
90s.
one in
Yeah.
1998.
Still, there were still some people
Yeah.
who at least had family members they knew
But when they made the movies in the 50s or whatever, like when they made these, I think it's called A Night to Remember. It's from the 50s. But like when they made that, even the people in that movie probably felt like the world that they lived in after World War I and II was so different from the world when the Titanic went down. Whereas like, so I think even then, like that disconnect kicked in a lot quicker.
Yes, but those initial movies, were they love stories or were they just
A Night to Remember?
A Night to Remember.
They are?
It tells
It's
a
a love
bunch
story.
of different stories. And then there's like the unsinkable Molly Brown, which is a musical and a movie, who in the Titanic movie is played by her name, misery actress.
Kathy Bates.
Yeah, thank you. Kathy Bates. Yes, Kathy Bates. And yeah.
Who's in the unsinkable Molly Brown? Isn't it Debbie Reynolds? Did I make that up?
It came out in 1964, and yes, it's Debbie Reynolds. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird to think about, especially now, grown up, and realizing when you're outside of like this incredible movie that was such a phenomenon. And all the adults were in on it too. So, but like, yeah, but I don't know. I'm not going to be going to any 3-course dinner.
No $70 3-course dinner.
It's just always too soon for any event.
But if they had you try to escape, would you then go to the dinner?
Now I'm thinking about like Titanic escape the room.
That's what I'm just looking up right now.
Titanic is where's water?
Escape rooms
With water. God. I want them to try to drown me.
Escape the room. Titanic escape the room. Oh my God.
It's 7 out of 10 difficulty.
Because like they probably have you sign a waiver because they're gonna be sending water your way.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you want to hear the premise?
Yes.
Yes.
Inside the new and beautiful Titanic, you are surrounded by opulence on the journey of a lifetime until you hit an iceberg. Trapped in your stateroom, can you find a way out using your wits before the water rises above the porthole?
Yes. You're trying to drown you.
So, Arzu, it sounds like what they're doing is they have like a porthole thing, and then you can see the water rising outside of the room. It's not going to be in the room.
Close to.
The theming looks really nice, at least. Like, they did a good job. It's in Georgetown, near Georgetown. There's one in downtown and Georgetown.
Oh, I think I know the escape the room place then, in which case I've actually been there, but I don't think they had a Titanic one time. But it really does say something about just how like influential all this was, that stuff like this is still happening so many years later.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine an escape room when you're like in the Twin Towers. Like, come on.
Again, no one's going to do this. That's why I'm just like, how is it so celebrated? Like, I think that you can celebrate a movie in like a particular love story, like in the way that they told that story. But the main point of the entire movie is still that it's sung.
Itself, and there was classism. There was issues with the class system. And you know what? Okay, this is what it reminds me of.
But that's the point of the movie. That's why it matters that Rose and Jack are from different decks. Because if they're just like, there was classism on the Titanic, an audience can't like conceive of that. If you give them an avatar to look at, James Cameron, if you give them like a first class person and a third class person as like their focal point, it drives home a lot quicker because they can actually talk about that.
And that's all fine. And I think that can be also something that can be celebrated about the movie, is the fact that it did show that kind of classism and contradiction. But again, why are we celebrating this tragedy?
Okay, do you know what this reminds me of? Even though, okay, obviously the Hunger Games is not real. It hasn't happened yet.
Don't put that out there yet.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. But, okay, you guys know I'm in marketing, so I'm always interested in the way things are marketed. So there was a lot of franchise tie-ins with the Hunger Games, including, I believe, a cover girl, which was how to look like the Capitol.
Oh, I remember
The Capitol were the people who were putting the children into the Hunger Games. And then they also had a tie-in with Subway. Sandwich restaurant, which the connection that Katniss has with
Rue?
No, the boy.
Pita.
Pita, yeah, like pita bread. Is that he gives her bread because her family is literally starving after her father dies. Yeah. And Subway has bread. It just,
Was that the tie-in?
No, but there's just
They
like
throw a half-burned loaf of bread at you.
because you're gonna marry me in a few years after we go through some trauma. Spoiler alert for Hunger Games.
Oh, God.
I feel like it's a lot of it just, this is popular. Let's take it somewhere in
And capitalize on it. Yeah, I get it. But like,
America.
I don't think the movie is celebrating the tragedy. I think the movie is just about the tragedy.
no, but
I
everything
think the
that happened
rest of
after
it.
that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, everything that happened after that was what was that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not criticizing the movie. I think that what they were trying
definitely
to do,
not.
obviously, yeah. But
People just took the wrong message from it.
they're just
James
like,
Cameron
oh,
obviously was
story.
obsessed with the Titanic. He went down there. He
I
did his
think-
research.
I have a feeling this man wanted to go see the wreckage, and he's like, "It's for a movie."
Pass right off.
Yeah,
He didn't want to pay that 100.
He didn't want to pay the 30 grand.
Yeah. So that's the Titanic mania of the 90s, kids. Your
Oof.
fandom history. You think fandoms are crazy now?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are. They are.
They are, but the fandoms now. I can't think of a similar thing. After
historic.
Titanic. Yeah, that's historic, but yet taking the historical factor almost out of it, and focusing on a different portion of it. Like I can't think of anything else like that. That's nowadays.
Pearl Harbor tried to. I feel like Michael Bay was trying to do a Titanic. Even I think Alec Baldwin, who's in it, said that, this is going to be bigger than Titanic. He was wrong.
Did have similar reactions as far as like people just falling in love with. Was it Ben Affleck? Who was in that?
Josh Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett. Yeah, Josh Hartnett is the one I'm thinking of.
But it didn't do as well.
I'm talking about like what's this generation's Titanic? There is no Titanic.
No.
Like of this generation. I just feel like that was such
Once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime kind of thing. There's nothing to compare it to.
No.
If you think of the other big blockbusters, they're all fantasy and sci-fi, really. Right?
Fantasy, sci-fi. Yeah, like just
The top movies are Avatar 2, in no particular order, so I don't remember. Avatar 2, Titanic, Avengers Endgame, and a couple other Marvel movies.
Yeah, so they're all...
and Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Yeah, so sci-fi, fantasy, comic book, which is
not historical tragedy.
Titanic is still number 3 after the first Avatar and then Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
The closest thing is, I guess you could say, Top Gun Maverick, which isn't really even based on a true story, but it's in the real world. That's the only thing close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And even then, I don't know that this is something kids are obsessed with. I think it's like our generation and up.
I did see a lot of people.
Top Gun? Oh, yeah, no, there's a lot of kids that are obsessed with it.
Can you tell there aren't a ton of kids in my life?
No, I remember I went to the movies to see Jurassic World. I think it was the weekend after it came out, and Top Gun had just came out, and a lot of people were dressed up like fighter pilots.
Funny.
Yeah, and everything else is fantastical.
Yeah.
As it probably should be. Again, I don't think that this should necessarily be something that happens.
No, yeah, this is something that is once in a lifetime. There is nothing to compare it to. Damn, Minions the 24th most popular movie of all time? Sorry. Okay, getting off topic. Anything else either you have to say about Titanic Mania?
I would just like to say that when we did have to write stories about Titanic, all I remember was every single girl in the class had it, because you had to write it from like your own point of view and like you were a person on the Titanic. And every other girl in my class was in the first class cabin, and all they did almost the entire story or whatever was describe the dresses they were wearing.
I don't blame
And my
Rose
story
has like great costumes.
No, I know, but every single one of them. And they all like watched the ship sinking or whatever. I think I was the only person who wrote from a third class perspective. And in the end, I died. So I think that even then I was thinking like how ridiculous it was.
Vanessa was a realist as a kid.
Clearly.
She was weird.
think I
That's
just
why I
had
was
an
friends with her. Because like, she fit in well with us. We were the weird kid.
I just think that some part of me was like, this is a little ridiculous, and maybe we should focus on the fact that this was like a huge tragedy.
My last memory is when I was about 11 or 12, the movie was on TV, and I like properly sat down and watched it start to finish with audio the whole time. And I remember I didn't feel much when Jack died. I was like, okay, I knew that was coming. It was when everybody else started dying, I lost it. Like all the passengers in third class.
No, that
Oh,
guy
that-
was
that-
I was a mess.
The
was
older
an
couples
absolute-
who were just like snuggling each other in bed while
The mom with
was
the two
rising.
kids.
Oh,
yeah, she was
That
putting
was
her
where
children
that
to
was where I
bed.
lost it.
yeah.
I remember being very upset because at that time I was, where's the happy ending? And my parents were like, sometimes life doesn't have happy endings. And I was like, what? Excuse me?
That's also a good lesson to learn from.
But also, can I just say justice for Rose's husband? Because that man is the father of her children and she dies and she doesn't go visit him. Nope. She goes to the guy that she knew for a few days and hooked up in a car.
Maybe her younger self went back, but like her slightly.
No, Arzy.
I don't know. Oh, also another memory that like just came to me of the day before I even saw the movie. It was so in the like public consciousness and public imagination. There's a theme park near my house. It used to be owned by Paramount. It's not anymore. But I don't even think this is a Paramount movie. This is like
It's
a Fox
Fox.
movie.
Yeah, but they might have licensed something.
They did because it was all like the whole thing was movie themed at the time. Like they had a Top Gun ride and it was like a whole thing. But they had this show building that used to have a 3D ride type thing in it, but they had emptied it out and made a Titanic exhibit for a while. The line, when I tell you this line was hours long and we waited to see it anyway.
I vividly remember going to Target September 1st to go get that VHS.
Target
And-
existed back then?
In the 90s? In the late 90s?
I don't know.
I don't remember a time without Target.
We
don't
didn't get
remember
Target in
Target
Canada
either.
until 2013 and it lasted 2 years at most.
Okay, now Targets have always been a part of my life. Vanessa, you too?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, today I learned.
So I remember specifically which Target it was because it was near my dad's university. And it was after he picked me and my sister up from daycare. And like, the lady was like, are you going to have a good night? I'm like, I'm going to have a good night of have Leonardo with me. I was a sassy little thing. I didn't know what it meant at the time.
Target was established as a discount division of Dayton's department store of Minneapolis in 1962.
I feel like they boomed in the 90s because they had the
Yeah.
Target dog and everything, commercials, and I liked shopping there.
The clothes.
Okay.
Anyway.
On that note, we want to know, do you have any memories of Titanic Mania from the 90s, or are you too young to even been alive then? Because I've seen our audience on YouTube.
Kids.
But you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to share fandom history with the younger generation so they can understand where
Share
they
it with
came.
the youths.
Yeah, share with the youth. Yeah. Do you think the movie still holds up? We want to know. Let us know. So thank you, Arzy. Thank you, Vanessa, for joining me on this journey. On that note, we hope you all stay geeky and stay away from icebergs. Did it. Last one in.